Dr. Insley? Pamela? You look great. Especially for a dead woman.
Hello, Jason. The animal plant toxins had a rather unique effect on me. They replaced my blood with aloe, my skin with chlorophyll, and filled my lips with venom. Oh, and Jason, one other thing. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. I'm poison. It's a jungle in here. I am nature's arm. Her spirit. Her will. Hell, I am Mother Nature. And the time has come for plants to take back the world so rightfully ours. Because it's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Coming, Bane darling. We've got a plane to catch.
All right.
Let's fucking go.
Starting off this entire costume with the bodysuit because that's the biggest portion of this costume and the most time consuming. I began wrapping the torso of my mannequin with a plastic wrap, as I did similarly with my Silent Hill nurse costume, as to make sure none of whatever glue I was going to use got past this layer. Placing my bodysuit over top of that to be sure that it actually fits. And before committing to any of this, I wanted to test out what glue I would actually be using. I tried a normal fabric glue on the left side and hot glue on the right side. We're gonna see which one works better. Well, I know that the hot glue worked-ish, but finding out that fabric glue actually didn't hold. Nope, fabric glue did not hold at all. But the hot glue kind of did. I thought perhaps a hybrid would be the best option. A fabric glue stick, which would go in my hot glue gun eventually. Both a temporary hold and a permanent option. While those were drying though, I flipped it over and made the cups for the boobie area. This was done by using a bra I knew fit me, placing it over the mannequin's bust to make sure that it keeps its shape better, and placing the thermal plastic over top of that, heating it literally just with why can't I think of what it's called? Blow dryer, there we go, and manipulating it until it was nicely fitted around the bra. And then peeling it off, which I noticed to be a lot easier without the plastic wrap I randomly added on. And we're done. Now we got some booby cups. They will eventually go in here to keep this more shaped out. I also cut between the cups, but you definitely could keep these as one piece. I would also recommend keeping more along the edges, as I cut the exact edge of my bra. Not the bra itself, but I cut it as close as I possibly could. Not my finest idea, but this was my first time doing this, so I digress. I then sprayed them both down with a spray adhesive and added batting over top of that. And then cut that down again right to the edge, but I would recommend leaving yourself a little bit of, let's say, seam allowance. To actually place these onto the costume, I'm pulling it as much as possible, flipping it over itself, getting it properly situated, spraying them both with spray adhesive once again, and then putting these newly formed cups over the boobage area. And placing the bodysuit back over top, firmly pressing it down. Then it was time for the leaves. I did use a variation. All of these are either from the dollar store or secondhand, and I picked through them to find how much of each I kind of had. And then it was time for the actual paint job. Using a mix of yellow and fabric medium, and eventually yellow and green. I painted all of these edges and faded it out a little bit, each singular leaf. This alone took days to do. Though I'm only showing you one of each. Cut down on time, you know? Again, I'm placing alike ones together, but more so going through them and deciding which paint job I actually liked enough to keep it on the project, and I put those together. Finally, paint the main attraction, the ones that take up the most of the bodysuit. These I painted and wiped away some of the paint with it tissue until I got the look that I wanted. Alright, well, it fits. Good news is it fits. But it is definitely a costume. It will definitely only be used as a costume, because man is it ever hard to get on and off. Oh my god. After they all dried down, it was time to glue them all on. As I didn't care as much for the back ones, I glued them down first to kind of get a feel of the land. No pun intended, I guess. And I also had to run my glue gun out of regular hot glue and transition it into fabric hot glue. There we go. Fabric glue, here we are. I did sort of pre-plan this, I guess, maybe about 30%, and then winged it the other 70%. I did have to really plan out the crotch area, as I didn't want it to be barren, but I also didn't want it to be like super uncomfy to wear. Same with the area going over my butt. Finally, it was time for the foam face pieces. I brought a skull out. Originally, I was going to actually build on top of this, but I realized I wouldn't need to, so I used it as spooky filming decor instead. I got a pack of different colored foam sheets from the dollar store and separated the green out. With a reference photo, I drew out the shapes. I know I wanted this to have multiple layers, so I had to figure out which layer would have each piece kind of thing. I ended up with 4. The top layer going toward the middle of my face, kind of towards my nose area. The outer brow area. And I suppose the base cheek piece. I kind of just like dry fit them just to plan them all out, and then I added them all together with actual contact cement gel. I didn't like how naked the middle looked, so I added that 4th piece in. And then let them cure overnight with a clamp on them just to make sure they were as stuck and stable as possible. Yes, this did make a little bit of a mark, but I knew I would be heat sealing it and manipulating it anyways. Which is to give added depth into it with various tools, giving it more of that leaf texture. And then using a ball tool on the edges to bend in and shape them, basically make them come off the face. For the paint job, I actually tested out a few options, one being fabric dye, one being my tried and true, using acrylic paint mixed with fabric medium, which I ended up liking the most. Who would have thought? I tested them as they came out, and then I tested them with the ability to actually like dab them off. Alright, so I don't like the dye. I prefer that. And I think if I keep a thin enough coat, it should be okay. So let's go. I added a darker color into all the texture that I had previously made. And also along the edges to create more depth and shade. All of the edges, which actually made me have to take a disposable sponge and break a little bit of it off so that it wouldn't go everywhere. For the texture I just talked about, I actually used the mixture I had made and diluted it with a bit of water so it would really sink in. And then again, I dabbed it off with a dry tissue. Then came with a deeper green, and again watered it down, dabbed it onto the entire surface with a disposable sponge, and dabbed it off again with a tissue. I did this to both of them and then sealed it with a satin top coat. I added them onto my face using liquid latex, a little bit on the piece, a little bit on my face, and pressed them firmly together. That is it for today's video, and I do hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you in my next one. Happy Halloween! Oh, I hear them ripping slowly. I really hope the stuff I'm seeing isn't poison ivy here. I'm nervous. Okay, ready?